Ian from Addshot. It's just a crazy, crazy day here. We're in the foothills and there's a fire raging out of control about 7 miles up the valley here. It's known as the Caldor Fire. So this is probably like day 4 of the Caldor Fire. This thing is insane. This fire started outside of Omo Ranch in California, and it just started blazing out of control. In the first night, it grew 2,000 acres. Second night, 6,000 acres. Third night, it was up over 32,000 acres. This fire is just raging out of control. Hey there, let's talk about the Caldor Fire. The past, the future. Current estimates put the fire at 73,000 acres. So currently the fire is up the mountain here about 7 miles. But as many remember from the King Fire, which was about 7 years ago, that overnight it spread 15 miles easily. And they're just saying, oh, the smoke is so bad here. You know, I get it, but you know, this is an imminent threat. The fire could be, you know, closing in on us, and I don't know when. There's a really bad system out there for tracking these fires. It's delayed. You know, you get messages from Cal Fire every like 4 to 8 hours, sometimes once a day, on updates on this fire. So really, if it comes raging this way, you got to check the sheriff's website. You got to see where the evacuation orders have been put in. There's warning zones. Currently, we are just outside of the warning zone. People over here are in the warning zone across the valley. So they are preparing to leave right now. And once they give that evacuation notice, most people will leave. There's a lot of holdouts though. There's a lot of people that feel that their house will not be protected if they leave. And I don't blame them, because 7 years ago, I was a victim of a fire and we saw smoke and flames at the bottom of the canyon here. The fire actually started down in this region. It came up the canyon so fast and then consumed the property here. So we had about 20 minutes to go. And you know, this is kind of just like a repeat, it feels like, except the fire is behind us up the mountain. It is slowly creeping back towards us. And every day it inches a little bit further this way. The winds have been very calm, but unfortunately also very still and steady, which lets the smoke linger. And it's just really hard for planes to fly when it's this smoky. So there's no air support right now. Yesterday we had a fun helicopter day where they were having fun with all their helicopters, but not a single air tanker was flying. 2 days ago we did have air tankers. We had the DC-10 and some C-130s. They were outfitted with some serious fire retardant. It was really good to see. And we felt that the fire was kind of getting a hold on itself, where they were keeping it back from some of the homes. But I guess currently, after about 3 or 4 days, there's over 100 homes that have been lost and structures beyond that. Who knows what this thing's gonna do? But all I know is I'm holding tight, but I just wanted you guys to take a look at what happened to this property 7 years ago. I have some footage. It was really hard to take at the time. I always thought, like, why am I filming this? Why will I wanna look back at this devastation? But maybe it's a good time for this. The smoke is so bad here. I don't even know why I'm outside, but I just needed to show some people how serious this is. And like I said this morning, nothing was visible around the top of my hill here. Couldn't see a single mountain out there at all. It was completely smoked out. There was no way I was even gonna step outside. We did have about 200 personnel on this fire for the first 3 days. And then luckily they sent reinforcements, planes and other things. We now have about 600 crew on this fire. Really appreciated, but I think anytime a fire starts in California, they need to be on it right away because it's gonna grow out of control. But now that I'm starting to see a little bit of clearing, I decided to come out here a little bit. I'm still trying to, you know, maintain the air conditioning in the home with the filtration and trying to just keep this down, but it is intense. And basically at this point, I think my wife might be taking off and heading to better skies. It's just not good for our children here. So anyway, I put together a little compilation of videos for you, a little bit of the past. About 7 years ago, this property was hit by a fire. and it was devastating, and it's a hard road out. No matter what people say, you're basically going to spend years and years getting back to what was normal instead of living those years and years with your normal life and what you're used to. It becomes something totally different, where now you're fixated on rebuilding everything, your life, and trying to make it all work. So, hey guys, this is Ian from addshot. This is emergency transmission. I'm glad you guys are tuned in for this. We have a major fire raging up the canyon right now. It's known as the Caldor Fire. It's about 62,000 acres currently, and about 3 days ago it was 40 acres. So I've put together a little video of just a few past clips, and then after that we'll move on into maybe just a little journey of what got me here to this property and maybe a few other things. So I hope you enjoy, and just say a prayer for all the people out here in California who have to deal with this. This is insane, and I believe there are solutions besides hocus pocus that it's going to make this thing all go away. There's no forest management here. It's just these forests have not been logged in 30 years. Plenty of shovel-ready jobs waiting to thin out these forests here. There's so many fuels. It's all selective logging, and probably permits are only given out to buddies and friends, and it takes people basically to log these forests. There's plenty of shovel-ready jobs ready. Something that would allow people to come on out and shore up the forest here. So we have to be very careful. We're constantly watching. So hey guys, I'm going to show you a little bit of footage. This happened 7 years ago. This was the sand fire. So basically from the sand fire to the Caldor fire, it's been about 7 years. And what you're looking at is a crew of Mennonites that came out to help us clean up our property. They asked for nothing in return. They specified that you could give a donation to their cause, but they did not want any money. They simply were out here to help. The most inspiring thing I've seen in my whole life, probably. At times there were over 20 people out here working. Boys, young adults, and adults alike, all with their own skills and lending a hand when necessary. Massive trees were lost during this sand fire. I probably estimate that 90% of the trees on my property were burned. There were some trees that were spared at the river, but anything up top here didn't make it. So this is years of getting your property back to a point where you can build again. And because of the terrain, topography of my property, it was not a smart idea to build the house in the same place the original house was. It was on the steepest part of the canyon, so steep in fact that one of the last people on this property came up to tell me that it was like a freight train coming up the hill, and 150 foot flames were just towering up above, and he was the last to drive out. He was a sheriff's deputy that was last out here on my property. So again, as we see the American flag flying on the shipping container, with just pieces of it, basically an old rag. At this point, it did survive the fire, the shipping container. It was an amazing thing. So I was able to salvage some tools and other things that could help me get back to normal. So as you can see, such a process here. The women even came out to assist with food and lunches. This is Disaster Response Services, Christian Aid Ministries, and again, just amazing people. They put their time and their hard work on the line for basically spreading the message and spreading some love. And you know what? We couldn't have asked for anything more. It was so amazing to just get the main debris off the property quickly. And as we try and do things and travel around the country and live normal lives, the reality is that this is not over yet. And so all the trips we tried to take and any cruises we jumped on, you know, we tried to enjoy ourselves. Hey there everybody, thank you for visiting addshot. If this is your first time or you are returning, we appreciate you viewing. All video and music made from scratch. All right, so this was quite a journey for us. The first 3 years we traveled around if we could, and we made plans to build our house. Now, we were uninsured in the original fire. We were trying to open up a coffee shop in Nevada. I mean, we had plans that were fun and exciting, but all put short due to this fire. So the new Priority 1 mission was to rebuild our house, and it did take a long time. It took 4 years. So there was an ordinance that was passed for anyone victims of the Sand Fire or King Fire of that year, that they would not have any timelines to complete their dwelling as long as plans were submitted before a certain date. So we definitely jumped on that and submitted our plans once we were ready, and we went on ahead with the rebuilding of our home and the rebuilding of our lives, truthfully. So again, this is 7 years of your life, and you can't just not have fun and do the things you love. So the only difference between what you may be doing now with your life and what we were doing is that we were constantly fixated on this project of rebuilding a home, and so it gets in the way of some of the other things that you like to do. And so we tried our best to, at least try to enjoy life. We also, after the fire, have had 2 kids. So life is crazy. We were for a long time living with relatives and staying in RVs and trailers. So this has been a fantastic point to get up to this point now, and all of a sudden we come back after a little celebratory vacation, and we come back to a major wildfire burning right up the hill here. So every day that goes by so far has just been complete worry. We're on our phones constantly trying to track the progress of the fire on the western front. I mean, this thing is slowly creeping down the hill. The fire is in our canyon. It is on the Consumnes River here. This is something that is serious to us, and basically we want answers. We want to know why these fires are just so fierce and powerful, and I don't want to hear some simple answer that is the reason, because the fuels on my property were extreme. From the grasses that grow every year to the manzanita, to the shrub brush, and then to the oak trees. This fire spread so quickly. It was like a perfect ladder getting up to the highest heights. And almost every pine tree in this region that you see here, that was 100 to 300 feet tall, it was decimated. I mean, this fire burned hot and quick, and so what can you do? You just try and get through this stuff, but you want answers. You want to know how arson plays a role in all this. You want to know why, when you hear about red flag warnings on television, that's all they talk about is there's a red flag warning and everything is dry and humid, and they announce it and it's on the news. All you hear is red flag warning. Is that the code signal for these arsonists to come out here? Because seriously, every time there's a red flag warning, there's some kind of fire that is mysteriously popping up in various places. And I'm listening on 5.0 radio. I am listening to all the scanners, and they are turning in license plates. They are finding people that are out here. They want to know if you're from the area or not in the area. And this was the old structure that I built, made of almost entirely Doug fir and cedar, and was not fireproof. A lot of trees had to come down. That was one of the largest interior live oaks that was on my property, just massive. And since then, I've just been trying to enjoy myself, get back into filming again, try and re-wrangle some of my hobbies and loves back into my life. There was a lot that got us to here. We always love to travel and go around, and I bought this property up in the foothills because it was beautiful, and I could look back and see my home way out there. I know that this scenario, a life out in the country, is not cool with some people. They want everyone to be confined in the city. They want you to be living in smaller places. They want you to conform to just about every little thing that you can think of. And you know what? That's not how I want to live, and it's not how a lot of people want to live. So that's why we live out here in the country. That's why we just wanted to get away from it all. We wanted to get away from the crazy, hectic place that is most cities. But hasn't this just been the craziest last couple months? Everything closing around you. It just seems like the tyranny is on all sides. It's just getting out of control. How does one do anything besides speaking out about this nonsense? It's time to take a stand, everyone. Do not listen to the voices that are out there. If I have to check Twitter and find out vital information, I love that I'm being advertised to by Twitter. They're slapping their advertisements in your face. Another nonsense thing to read when I'm just trying to get information about this fire. And all the people self-promoting themselves, and all the weather news people who just want to tell you some update that's 5 hours old about this fire. You know what? Get off of Twitter and let it be used by people that really want to share vital information, because that is the only way that we're going to be able to survive, is this we cut out the background noise. We all have a chance coming up to possibly change the outcome of this state, because it's been mismanaged for way too long. And I hope that you guys make the right decision. Seriously. Let me know what you think in the comments below. There's more to come. Please subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.